to strengthen diplomatic ties as Nigeria hosts Japanese and Vietnamese envoys. Operation Positive Identification takes off today. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us on NTA Panorama. I am Lydia Odije Ochi. A report from Maiduguri says a fire incident gutted parts of the GSM market on Thursday night. The incident, which began at about 10 p.m., affected many shops before officers of the fire service arrived to put out the fire, bringing the situation under control. As at the time we received this report, there were no clear details about the cause of the fire. We shall bring more details on the incident as the story develops. Nigeria and the Socialist Republic of Vietnam on Wednesday signed a bilateral agreement to further strengthen diplomatic and economic cooperation. This was when Vice President Yemi Osinbajo received a delegation of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam led by the Deputy Prime Minister Vuong Dinh Hue. State House correspondent Jide Onifade has details.
Of State for Foreign Affairs.
Nigeria and Socialist Republic of Vietnam have maintained cordial relations over the years. The two established diplomatic relationships since 1976, but this is about the only time a high-level delegation from Vietnam would be visiting the country. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the visit of the Deputy Prime Minister is therefore significant.
We have all decided that we will be looking at the possibilities of setting up a binational cooperation between Vietnam and Nigeria so that we can concretize some of the areas of cooperation and some of the ideas that we discussed earlier today. I'm confident that we can build on the successes recorded in the past, while we forge new areas of cooperation in boosting trade and investment and social and cultural relations between our people. We even agreed that we'd like to promote a friendly match that's a friendly football match between Vietnam and Nigeria.
We signed an agreement on waiver of visa for people carrying diplomatic and official passports.
His country's commitment to working with
in Abuja. Mitari Ekwen has details.
The Japanese ambassador was at the presidency to extend his country's appreciation to President Muhammadu Buhari for delegating Mr. Boss Mustafa to attend the recent enthronement ceremony of Japan's new emperor, Naruhito, in Tokyo. The envoy described 2019 as historic in terms of multilateral engagements between both nations, citing President Buhari's participation in TICAD 7, as well as Japan's involvement in Nigeria's maiden June 12 Democracy Day celebration.
So it kind of symbolizes how much importance the Japanese government attach to the relation with Nigeria. So this year is special. Next year we're going to have many things to celebrate again.
Boss Mustafa said Nigeria has a friend in Japan and will step up bilateral ties for shared prosperity of the two countries.
Also to assure you that Nigeria would continue to keep very good and friendly diplomatic, social, cultural relationships with the country of Japan, because I know you have a lot to offer us. We have a lot in turn to offer you.
The Japanese envoy says his country looks forward to hosting the Nigerian contingent and elevating bilateral ties at next year's Olympics in Tokyo. In Abuja, Mitari Ekwen, NTA News.
Next set of reports from the National Assembly. The Senate Committee on Niger Delta Affairs has screened 14 out of the 16 nominees for appointment as members of the Governing Board of the Niger Delta Development Commission. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that during the exercise, the committee harped on the need to ensure the completion of abandoned projects by the Commission.
On Tuesday, 29th of October 2019, Senate received requests from President Muhammadu Buhari for the confirmation of 16 nominees as members of Governing Board of the Niger Delta Development Commission. Same day, Senate at plenary mandated its Committee on Niger Delta Affairs to screen the nominees. 2 days after, the committee has screened 14 of the nominees with specific advice to address the issue of abandoned projects by the Commission in the Niger Delta region.
It's a duty that we have to perform and report back within 1 week.
I hope and I pray that your own tenure will be different to ensure that the quantity of abandoned projects in the NDDC, area is reduced.
Those who were screened made a promise to give in their best in the development of the Niger Delta.
That we are committed to working with this committee of the Senate and that of the House of Assembly to repositioning and rebranding the Niger Delta Commission so that we can change the narratives for good.
Pius Odubu is to serve as chairman with Bernard Okumaba as managing director. The remaining 2 nominees, Joy Nunia representing River State and Aisha of the 16 nominees on the floor of the Development Commission.
In Nigeria, the purpose of this effort by the military and other matters arising were among issues posed to the Nigerian Army when it appeared before the House Committee on Army to provide explanations on the proposed nationwide Operation Positive Identification. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali has more.
The proposed operation, the lawmakers said, has not been given enough publicity to sensitize the public, which was why it has been subjected to various interpretations, some of which are not positive.
Identification of individuals is the job of either the immigration or the police. Now, in doing this operation, are you going to involve the police?
Even the one that is happening in the northeast, military, I have never seen a situation where a military man in uniform is stopping an individual to search him and to ask him to present a means of identification.
But the Chief of Civil Military Affairs Army Headquarters said the operation is nothing new and is specifically directed at fleeing criminals who, based on intelligence, are spreading to other locations of the country away from their usual base of operations.
We are just trying our best to ensure that we apprehend some of these criminals and Boko Haram terrorists that may have escaped from the northeast to other areas. Based on credible information or intelligence, we might conduct raid or cordon and search operations whenever we have credible intelligence or information as regards some of these criminals. And that is when you will require this issue of identifying yourself so that we can be sure that you are not a criminal or you are a Boko Haram terrorist.
He allayed fears being entertained that the rights of citizens without valid identification might be infringed on, stating that any form of identification would suffice.
We are not basing it on any particular means of identification. It would just be something as simple as a school identification card, work identification card, and that settles it. Nobody is saying that it must be international passport, national identity card, driver's license, no.
The operation, according to the Army, is a subsidiary of military operations in areas confronted with security challenges and does not warrant additional troops nor mounting of checkpoints.
I commend the Nigerian Army for bringing up ideas, you understand, especially a preventive measures, because what it does is if everybody knows that they have to carry their IDs, it will stop a lot of people engaging themselves in criminal activities.
If they do arrest people, eventually, normally they hand it over to the police. So, but we'd like to see those analyses and see how we can come back.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NCA News.
More reports on security. The Nigerian Army says it remains determined to end cases of kidnapping, armed banditry, cattle rustling, and other acts of criminalities in the country. General Officer Commanding 1 Division, Nigerian Army, Kaduna, Major General Farouk Yahaya stated this when he officially flagged off Exercise Ayema Patuma 2 in Minna, Niger State. Fatima Usman has details.
Akpatuma is a military operation carried out annually by the Nigerian military to address cases of kidnapping, armed banditry, and other criminal acts in the northern region of the country. The Nigerian Army's determination to rid the country of criminal elements that have been threatening the peace of the country gave rise to the continued operations carried out in different regions. Flagging off the exercise in Mina, General Officer Commanding 1 Division, Nigerian Army Kaduna, Major General Farouk Yahaya, says the exercise, which is a joint multi-agency exercise, will be conducted in line with the new super camp concept recently adopted by the Nigerian Army, all targeted at containing perennial insecurity caused by fleeing bandits and other criminals.
This exercise is an exercise, but on the ground is an operation that works on actionable information and intelligence to treat and neutralize all security threats.
In addition to checking activities of criminals, General Farouk Yahaya says the exercise also seeks to focus on building civil-military cooperation in order to obtain vital information from host communities, which goes a long way in enhancing operations. Governor Abubakar Sani Bello, represented at the event by the Secretary to the State Government, Ahmad Ibrahim Matani, appreciated the Nigerian Army and other security agencies for their efforts at securing the state, adding that the state government has been interfacing with service chiefs to provide assistance wherever needed. The exercise, I Am Akpatuma 2, is being conducted in many formations across the northwest and north-central geopolitical zones of the country. In Mina, I am Fatima Usman, NTA News.
Meanwhile, in Uyo, the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Jubilee has handed over 28 vehicles suspected to be involved in criminalities to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps for further investigation and prosecution. Calvin Samuel reports that the commander, NNS Jubilee, Commodore Monday Unurere, who performed the exercise in Ikodabasi, Akwa Ibom States, vows that his men will continue to maintain high ethical standards in the discharge of their duties.
Over the exhibit to the team of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, representative of the commander, NNS Jubilee, Navy Captain Aderotun Ayo, said the trucks, which are suspected to have been used for bunkering and other illegalities, were impounded at different times and locations across the state. He maintained that the action was in line with the professional ethics of the Nigerian Navy, who, according to him, are not to prosecute but mandated to hand over such items to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps or officers of Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, for further investigation and possible prosecution.
We've been doing what we are constitutionally empowered to do, which is security of the waterways.
The Akwa Ibom State Commandant, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Adeyinka Fashu, who received the items on behalf of his agency, assures that due process shall be followed in handling the case. The team thereafter went round to inspect the exhibit with the hope of conveying them down to the office of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Akwa Ibom State Command. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
You're watching Panorama on the NTA. More reports after this break. Don't go away.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Together, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together. How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Thanks for staying. After about 2.5 years of grooming personnel of the Nigerian Correctional Service in de-radicalization strategies, the European Union is pulling out. This is to pave way for the service to integrate the operations with the dictates of the new Correctional Service Act 2019. Victor Azu has more.
A warm welcome for this European Union team. For 30 months, they have supported the Nigerian Correctional Service and indeed Nigeria in the de-radicalization of violent extremist offenders following the long struggle with Boko Haram and Islamic State for West Africa Province, ISWAP. Now it is time for them to say goodbye, but not without creating the pathway for sustainability.
Nigeria's de-radicalization program was established to change the behavioral attitudes and beliefs of those associated with Boko Haram. The new curriculum not only captures and integrates issues related to de-radicalization, but has a foundation in human rights standards.
The next phase is to have a training manual. We are going to commence producing a training manual chapter by chapter on the act itself.
With the task of launching the training curriculum and teaching template donated by the group, the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, expressed his government's expectations going forward.
It is government expectation that the use of this revised curriculum will not only facilitate the implementation of the Nigerian Correctional Service Act 2019, but also contribute to the realization of the current government's commitment to ensuring security, safety, and economic enhancement of Nigerians.
A fitting way to round it all off is this part on the back for the last Comptroller General of Prisons and first Comptroller General of Corrections. In Abuja, Victor Azu, NTA News.
Away from matters concerning security, INEC and security agencies are currently meeting in Abuja to review arrangements ahead of the Kogi and Bayelsa governorship elections. Let's join Mia Ogidi on some of the deliberations.
This is the much expected month of November, the month that is hosting the governorship elections in Kogi and Bayelsa State. But as part of preparations for the November 16 governorship elections in the state, as empowered in the Electoral Act, specifically Section 29, the security agencies are meeting with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to review some of the security arrangements ahead of the elections. Though it is a closed-door meeting, but the opening remarks by the chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, and the Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, are worth telling.
We are also concerned that thugs have been mobilized from within and outside the states with the aim of either influencing the elections or disrupting the process on behalf of partisan sponsors. This calls for a robust response before the elections, on election day, and during the process of collation and declaration of results.
No doubt will be allowed to be brought from any other adjoining state to these states to disrupt elections. All those areas will be mined. The security of the INEC materials, election materials, are guaranteed by this deployment.
Moving on now, Africa must improve on the quality and quantity of all its products to enable member countries have better demand for its goods and services the world over. This was the position of the Strategic Steering Committee of the West Africa Competitiveness Program in Abuja. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday has that.
The competitiveness of most exported goods in global markets, analysts say, depends not only on access to raw material inputs, but also on the efficiency, price utilities, among other factors.
If there are any questions or...
These key players from 15 ECOWAS member states and Mauritania are in Abuja to strategize on how to improve the business environment in the sub-region that will be able to create concrete transactions based on the market's linkages.
To meet a minimum standard requirement in terms of quality, because there is no way we can market if we don't create the culture of quality excellence in our region.
Un technique, un comité d'orientation.
The committee approved 4 value chain for the program.
Mango, cassava, ICT, and cotton textile that will help to create jobs, especially for the youth and the women.
The total amount of support that the EU is giving is 120 million for this particular program. So we are also trying to improve the climate for investment.
The need to help West Africa achieve its quest for economic integration into the regional and international trading system is another mandate given the joint implementers. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
And now sports. Nigeria's national under-23 football team hopeful of a good outing at under-23 AFCON championships, as Tamara Ebiwe reports on Sports Update.
Nigeria's Olympic Eagles departed the nation Thursday for Egypt ahead of 2019 Under-23 Africa Cup of Nations, billed for November 8 to 22. Oche Ngbede, who spoke with the players in Abuja earlier on Thursday, reports that the team is hopeful of a good outing in Egypt.
We're just looking forward to showcasing what we can do, working together as a team, working hard for each other, and making the people of Nigeria proud.
The national Under-23 team in green are in high spirits after beating Nasarawa United Football Club of Lafia 2-0 at the FIFA Goal Project football field in Abuja prior to their journey to Egypt, where they will play Cote d'Ivoire, South Africa and Zambia in Group B. Golden Eaglets of Nigeria are set for their final group game against Australia Friday at the ongoing